Hey, and welcome to Love of Life TV Friday. It's Jess, and I'm back to chat some more. So, last week I talked about control, and especially the control of the mind. And I did tell you, stay tuned, because I will tell you something I did on my journey that really helped me to take back the control of my mind. So, first off, I realized I wanted to become the observer of my thoughts. I just wanted to really just see where they may go, because I was a bit of an overthinker, overanalyzer, mind wandering 10 miles per hour kind of person. So I had to start observing my thought process. And I must admit, I was in shock, because you see, I found it really easy to be positive for everyone else. You know, if it's their problem or their whatever they needed to chat on, I found it quite easy to become positive for them and their stuff. But I never realized how much I was not that positive for myself. So here's an example. One of the things I realized that will pop up for me is here's one crazy example. Ready? I don't know why, but just say I was in a event and there was hundreds of people going on. Weirdly, I would start to think of some random might pull out a gun and shoot everybody, right? Crazy, yes. Then I'd start to think, okay, what would I do if that did happen? How would I save my daughter? Would I do this? Would I throw her? Would I run? I don't know. So I was sitting there actually then trying to analyze what I'll do in that process if that actually happened. But why was I thinking so negative and taking away the present moment of what was actually going on at a nice event? I'll tell you one thing. News throws out a lot of negativity, and that stuff can be out there. So we're filling our minds with all this negative stuff. So I had to realize that, and I had to start changing it. So here's another thing. Inner critic. So we all have one, right? I started to realize, why do we always say you're your own worst critic? Like, think about it. Say you're in a photo with 5 people. Girls are really bad for this. And the first thing you look at when the photo's taken is yourself. You're not caring about anyone else's picture. You look at yourself, and the first thing you look at is the flaws you want to point out. Oh, my hair just went weird there. Oh, my eyes look a bit dark, or whatever it might be. But why are we just focused on all the negative, on all the flaws, on all the things that we have decided isn't perfect? Or should I say society has decided isn't perfect? And that's what dawned on me. Why are we so conditioned to go negative? And how often is our thought process spiraling down into the negative and actually causing negative emotions that we all don't really want to have? So I started to think, we need to change this, to spiral out of that and think a lot more positive. So when I started seeing, let me reframe that. When I started realizing how much my mindset was going towards the negative, and I was thinking things like, I'm not good enough if I couldn't get something right, or beating myself up, I then realized I was actually beating myself up because I was thinking negative. Why do I think this way? And that was unhealthy too. So I was still kind of in the over-analyzing, overthinking phase, and I was getting nowhere. So I clicked. I decided I need to name my inner critic. I need to name him Spike. So I introduce you now to Spike. I named my inner critic. Why? So I can disassociate myself with the thoughts that were coming up that were negative, and then therefore not experience the emotion behind it. Anything negative wasn't truth to me anymore. It was actually Spike, as if he was another person just telling me his opinion. And so if anything came up that I didn't like, I would end up saying, Spike, I'm not interested in your opinion anymore. Spike was only trying his best, trying to look out for me, trying to protect me, but really he wasn't doing me any favours. I even had to start sending him on holiday, because he thought he knew everything. He's a little bit of a grump sometimes. Okay, so just remember, the more I did start disattaching myself to the thoughts that were negative and deciding it was Spike, the more Spike actually started to disappear. And a lot more happiness came from me. And it was a really awesome process to do, and I was practicing it daily. So that's one thing you can do. Name your inner critic. Don't give yourself permission to hate on yourself. We are in worst critic. Like, why do we do that? We should be giving ourselves permission to love ourselves. Love from the heart. The more we love ourselves, the more we can love everyone else, and they can love us back, right? Share the love, people. I give you permission today to love yourself and tell your inner critic to go on holiday. Alright, that's all from me today. Hope I made enough sense for you. Have a good one. Bye!